Did my greatest fear for Bitcoin just come true? Well, if it did, it happened a long time ago. We're just now living through it. Let me put it to you this way. Early on, when the ETFs were approved, let's say they got approved, and we saw this massive liquidity pour into, the likes of BlackRock and whatnot. My biggest fear was, I use this analogy, Bitcoin hodlers, investors, were part of a small indie type of group. And we were having parties and we were enjoying life. We were proud of our group. And we didn't really care if any of the cool kids came to our group. We're okay. We had our beer tub girl with Johnny's hot girlfriend that dished out the cheap indie beer. Everyone, I didn't have money for a craft beer back then. And we all stole our parents' banana liqueurs and Kahlua to drink whatever we could, whenever we could at this party. We listened to our types of music on our system and everything was hunky-dory. Who's hunky-dory? And then we had a knock on the door. Who is it? It's the cool kids. 1 second, please. We shut the door and we huddled. As we huddled, we said, "You're not going to believe this, but the cool kids are wanting to come to our party." I know. They usually stuff us in lockers and beat us up, but here they are. They want to come to our party. And we were flattered and a little bit excited, As much as we loathed them, as much as we made fun of them, and as much as we didn't want them at our party, there was a part of us that knew/believed that if they came to our party would be that much better. It would take our party to a level that we knew it could get to, but we needed that little boost of the cool kids in our party. And so we went back to the door. I remember this. We also did a little game theory before we opened the door. It's like, what are the downsides of having the cool kids? Well, I guess a downside would be they want to change our party to their party. But why would they want to be in our party if they wanted just to change it to their party? So it's a 50-50. I mean, hold on a second, everybody. Every party they've ever joined, they turned it into their party. They never left well enough alone. So it stands to reason that they might try to change, the music on the iPad. Maybe they don't like this cheap beer. Maybe they want their own fancy craft beer, or for IPA or something like that. And maybe they're going to bring their own liquor. And, maybe there's some upsides to it. I don't know. Why don't we just let them in and we'll see. Consensus into a sea of meh, all right, let them in. And so when those ETFs were approved, we let the cool kids into the party. And what do they do? Well, exactly what we thought they'd do. They got rid of Johnny's hot girlfriend at the beer tub. They didn't like that cheap canned beer in the ice. They brought their own IPAs. They brought their own craft beers that were just shitty. They brought their own booze. And worst off, they brought their own bartenders. So now we didn't even know who was serving us. We didn't even know how to get to the bar. They set up their own bar. Now we had to wait in line. And it seemed like they were serving everyone but us. And then the last rung on the ladder was they changed the music. They brought in their own system, which we're kind of excited about. Well, a bigger system. That will make everything sound better, won't it? In theory. However, we lost control of the music selection. We were now subject to whatever they played whenever they played it. And so our greatest fear came true. We let the cool kids into the party, and they took the party over. Now, some people say it's no longer cool. It's kind of like the Metallica theory. I made that video a few months back when Metallica was, Metallica, let's say, Justice for All, Kill 'Em All, Justice for All, whatever those early albums were. They had this grassroots indie feel, even though they were a major label. Let's make no mistake, they're a major label. And then as soon as they came out with the Black Album, they were too mainstream for the Metallica maxis. And so they no longer went to the concerts. But the joke's on them, because then they became this stadium arena band. Not that they weren't before, but it cemented them, it minted them as this. So you had to stay in the crowd with the old school Metallica maxis and then the new school touristy Black Album, whatever. And I don't even know what they did after that. Not that I was a Metallica maxi, although maybe I was. No, I liked Enter Sandman. So now we have to stand with the new tourists, which isn't so bad, because eventually those new tourists die off. They don't carry the ethos of the Metallica maxi. So they just leave, and it's a revolving door of these Metallica tourists. So now that's where we are. We're standing, excuse me. We're standing side by side by these Bitcoin tourists that give us the Wall Street ick, if it were. You're not worthy of Bitcoin. You're not worthy of being in this party. But the truth is, they're at the party now. There's nothing we can do. We have to learn to play nice with them. And I guess the silver lining is, if they are Bitcoin tourists, well, eventually they'll leave the party.